Hello everybody and welcome. This is Roland Hartmann from Graphic in Motion, and in this tutorial I want to show you how to customize my energy logo reveal template. But before we get started inside After Effects, I just want to point out some important notes about this template. So if you purchase the template through VideoHive and you unzip the zip file, then you enter the project folder, you will see that there are two different folders inside our project. And one of them is called the No Plugins folder and the other one is called the Plugins folder. So I think that the names are already pretty self-explanatory, but I want to point out that this template can be used without any third-party plugins. And if you do not have the third-party plugins, which in our case are Trapcode Form version 2 and Video Copilot's Optical Flares, so if you do not have these plugins, you will still be able to use the template and you will still get the result as you see it in the preview video. So if you do not have the plugins, then please use the no plugins version. So therefore you just open this up and you see there is the After Effects file. And if you go to the footage folder and take a look at the assets, then you will find a pre-render folder. And you see that all the elements that I created with Trapcode Form or with Video Copilot's Optical Flare are pre-rendered and will look exactly the same as in the preview. But of course, you will not be able to do changes like change the amount of particles on the energy sphere or change the kind of the flare, you know. You can still do all the customization steps I will show you. You can change the color and everything. But if you want to do some really in-depth customization, so for example, you want to create your own energy sphere and change parameters there, then you will need to have the Trapcode Form plugin and you will have to use the plugins version. So for this version here, you will need the plugins. And one more hint, if you just want to do a quick customization, but you have the plugins, but you do not want to change anything, then I recommend to still use the no plugins version because it's just a little bit faster to render. You know, you do not have to render all the Trapcode Form elements and they are pretty heavy for the PC. So if you have no time and you want to do quick customization, then just go with the no plugins version. And this is exactly what I want to do now. You see that I am in the no plugins project. And of course, the customization steps that I will show you now are exactly the same for both versions. So the plugins version and the no plugins version do look exactly the same and there's no difference in the customization process. Okay, let's get started with this customization. And the first thing I want to point out is if you take a look at our first scene here, which is this kind of crystal energy lightning ball here, you see that in the background we have this audio spectrum. And in the preview video, you see that there is something happening, you know, it's reacting to the audio. And in our case now in the project, it's doing nothing. And this is because the audio is not imported yet. So we have to import some audio to get some reactions from this audio spectrum. And this is what I want to do first. So therefore you just move to the audio composition. It should be already open in the timeline. If not, you can find it up here in the project area, a project window, and just open it up by double clicking. And now we have to import some audio, and I really recommend, I go to import file by the way, and I really recommend you to use the same audio that I did. And you can of course find the link in the links folder and also in the items description. And I recommend this because I really timed the animation following this audio. So let's go to our previews and it's called the Modern Electronic Stinger, a really great piece. And I just drag it in my audio folder. And then I drag it in my audio composition and I make sure that it starts on frame 0, which it does. And if you go to our main composition now, you see that now we have already some reactions here in the audio spectrum in the background. Okay, very nice. Now we just move to, let's just collapse these layers. And let's move to a scene where you can see my logo and you will see that, let's say like around frame 150. So after the logo is revealed and our tagline is building up, because now I just want to import a logo. And therefore I just move to the logo composition, and here I could turn on my title action save area. And now I just import my logo. And I go to File and Import File. And for this example, I will use the Envato logo. So quickly import this, and I will just drag it out here. And I will just drag it on top of my placeholder. And for this customization example, I just want to use the logo without the typography. You could of course use it as a whole, you know. I can do this for a moment here. Let's just scale it down a little bit like this and disable the placeholder. If we go to our main composition now, you see that it works, you know, you have the logo here and stuff. But for this example, I want to use only the logo because I think it looks a little bit better in this case. So let's go back to our logo comp, and now I will just take my mask and I will just mask out the logo. Now I will just quickly change my anchor point so that I can position and scale it a little bit better. And now I will just move it to the middle here. And as a reference, I will enable my placeholder for a moment, and I will scale it back up so that it's kind of bigger. And I will just move it a little bit to the top here. So just have in mind that you want to enter a text here. If you want to enter text, you can, and that you leave a little bit of space here. So let's just enable the collapse transformation because it's a vector file, and just disable the placeholder again. And now we can move to our main composition and check the result. Okay, now you see that we have our logo here, and that this now blue smoke fog effect is over our logo. Of course, I will change this color because this doesn't really look nice now. But what I want to point out at this moment is you see that the shape of the logo is kind of being traced by this fog. So if I change the logo for a moment, you will see how this fog will change its shape. And therefore it's important that you use a logo that has an alpha channel. That means a transparent background, because it will trace the form and shape of the transparent or of the alpha channel. So if you have, let's enable the transparency grid here, you see that both of these logos have a transparent background. And if you would use a JPEG that is just a square, you know, with your logo on it, then this effect here will just trace the square and it will not look good. So please use a logo with an alpha channel. Okay, so now our logo is there, and now we will just add our tagline, and therefore I just search my tagline layer, which is this text layer right here, and I will just double click it, and I will just enter Envato and make it a little bit bigger for this example, like 85 is kind of good. And I just want to move it a little bit like so, and let's say that this is good for now. And of course you can change the font. You can use whatever font you want. I used the Code Light, and you will find the link to this font in the links folder and also in the items description. And for this example, I just want to change the tracking of the letters a little bit. Let's say like 70, and this is nice. Okay, so this is it. And what you can do now is change all the colors. So this is the next step that we want to do. And to change the colors, we have two possibilities. First of all, we have the color setup, and you see that there are quite a lot of color controls, and maybe this is a little bit frightening, but I will guide you really step by step through this customization. And I had to enter so many because I really wanted you to have the full control over the look of this template. And you will see it's pretty easy, you know. And another possibility you have is to change the background colors, and they are down here on the BG layer that stands for background. And actually I want to start adding or editing these colors because they are quite important for the overall look. So let's start with these colors. You see that on the background layer there is only a really simple 4-color gradient effect on it. And you see that I have two of these colors. One is now like a very dark or violet and the other one is a very dark blue. And of course this doesn't really fit to my green Envato logo, so I want to change this. So let's say I want to take over the color of the logo just for now, just as a starting point. And now I will go in there and I will just make it way darker. So I want to have a kind of a green shine on the left here, and I want to keep the blue shine because I think that the green and blue are quite a good combination of colors. Maybe I will just even darken it a bit, but for now I will just leave it. And you see that the other two colors here are just completely black. And you can of course stylize the background as you wish, you know, you can just move these around or create something completely different, you know, like let's say, okay, it's dark in the middle and we want the light be outside or the other way around. This is up to you. You can really be creative and create your look. But for now, I think this is pretty good and I will leave the background for now. So now let's move to our color setup. So color setup is the layer quite on top of the composition. And now we will just go through this animation. So let's start in the first scene. The first scene contains our kind of a crystal ball shape here and with these lightnings inside. And you probably know these things where you can put your hand on it and then this sparks are tracking your fingers. And this was kind of the look that I had in mind when I created this thing here. And now we want to apply the color changes for this thing. So you see we have here the energy sphere 1, and the energy sphere 1 is basically just this ball in the middle. And if you enter this composition by just double clicking it, you can take a look and you see we have the energy sphere and we have the lightings, and you can change all the colors on one spot, and the spot is the color correction. Oops, sorry. Here, color setup, yeah, color setup it's called. So let's get started. We search for the energy sphere 1, which is this color here. And because my overall look will be like green-blue, I want this to be kind of green. So let's just change the color to kind of green, something like this. It looks a little bit crazy for now. So I'll make it a little bit darker and I will leave it like it is for now. Okay. Now I also want to change the sparks here, and the sparks, oops, sorry, made a mistake now. And the sparks are called lightnings. Yeah, lightning core 1 and glow, and lightning core 2 and glow 2. So let's see. We want to change the first lightning to green. So I'll again just change the color to a dark green. And something like this, a little bit of a warmer green. Okay, and now I just take over this color for my lightning glow and I move in, and you see now we get a really nice green shine, and I want to make this a little bit brighter. The glow can be a little bit brighter. And you see that I have my lightnings too are blue, which is kind of nice because I wanted to keep the look green and blue anyway, so I can skip the next step. I will just go with these colors now. Maybe I want to darken the glow a little bit or make it a little bit more intense, an intense blue here. Let's go with this for now. Okay, what else do we have here in this scene? So you see, if I just for a moment disable my energy sphere, you will see that we still have here, okay, here we have some energy sparks in the middle. And I also want to colorize these, and therefore I probably should turn off my flare for a moment because it's kind of hiding them. So now you see these energy sparks here in the middle. And these are the energy cores, energy core 1 and energy core 2 right down here. So color setup, and let's search for the energy cores, and you see we have them right here. And for the moment I will just take over the color from my logo. So just move out here for a moment and just take over the color of my logo and just move back to around frame 50. And let's see what this did. And you see that I have now my energy sphere 1 got colored in green now. And the energy core 2 I want to leave at blue. Let's see, I could make it a little bit lighter, you know, that it's not so blue, but a little bit warmer color, like so. Okay, so it's kind of grayish blue now, but I think it looks quite good. Let's enable the flare again and take a look with the energy sphere. And you know, all these elements are set to add. So transfer mode is always add, because this is everything is light and energy, and so they will influence each other and make each other a little bit brighter and stuff. So you can play around really with the color settings here and create your own look. Okay, so far so good. So as you saw, I can just solo my flare for a moment, because of course we can colorize this too, you know. And in this case, it has a light, slightly bluish touch, but I don't like it. I want to change it to slight greenish touch. And you see we have the flare color right here. And let's change this, as I said, to a slightly green, you know, a little bit of a warmer green, but really very, very subtle, like so. And let's take a look how this looks. If it's adding up together, then we get this really bright look here. Okay, nice. And now I want to change the colors of the audio spectrum in the background. This is also important. So you see that down here we have audio spectrum, and we have basically 3 colors here, and you can see them here. I can just for a moment move down here, and you see here the audio spectrum 2. This is our audio spectrum in the back here, and I will just for a moment disable this bulge effect, and I will disable the box blur, so that we can see it clearly and that we can change the colors better. Okay, let's go to our color setup. And I want to change my main color, and this is more or less this blue. I will leave it at blue because blue will be my secondary color, but I want to change the audio spectrum color, you know, to a green. So I will just take over the color of the energy core, because this is exactly the color of our logo. And maybe I also want it to be a little bit more intense, you know, not too much, but a little bit more intense, like so. And I think that I'm going to change these small dots here to something like, let's see, maybe a little bit more yellow, like a really bright yellow. This looks pretty cool. Okay, now let's move back to our audio spectrum, and let's turn on our box blur and our bulge again. And now let's take a look how this looks. And you see now we have a pretty unique, or pretty good style. Everything is fitting together, you know, and this is exactly what this is all about. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on to our next scene. And in our next scene, or let's say the transition, we are transitioning from scene 1 to scene 2, and you see that we have these energy blasts going on, and I want to deal with the energy blasts now. And you see that we have energy blast 1, energy blast 2 are happening right now, and I want to just solo them for a moment. So this is energy blast 1, and energy blast 1 is blue blast, and energy blast 2 is pink in our example here. And I want to change these colors, of course. So let's go to our color setup again, and let's go to the energy blast color. Energy blast 1 is blue, and I want it to be green, because green is our main color. So let's take over again the energy core color here, and let's take a look. Maybe this is a little bit too warm for me, and always bear in mind that they are adding, and there are effects on it, a glow effect, so this can have quite an influence on your look. So play around with the colors until you get what you want. And I want this to be pretty intense green, so let's say like this. And I want the energy blast 2 to have an intense blue color, so let's take this over, and I think this looks really nice for now. So now let's turn on the other elements again to check it, and now you see, yeah, we have a nice green and blue energy blast here. And now the next element that we can control is our energy sphere, and you already realize that here inside our sphere there is already something happening, so that the colors already changed, and this is because this is also created with the audio spectrum, and it's more or less based on the background colors. So if you change the background colors of the audio spectrum, this sphere will take over these colors automatically. And I think that it looks really awesome like it is now. The only thing I do not like here is the color of our energy sphere here, because this should be more, a little bit more of green. So let's go to energy sphere 2 here. You see here, and you see that we have this color, and I will just take over the color from energy sphere 1, and it looks quite cool. So let's stay with this for now, and you see we have these small strings here, and they have a pretty good color, but I just want them to be a little bit more yellow. So here you have the energy strings control, and I just make this a little bit more yellow, not so much orange, but a little bit more yellow. You see, you can take whatever color you want, but I want to take a yellow here. Okay, so this is quite good for now. Okay, now we will deal with the next part of our animation, and the next part of our animation is this energy is forming our logo more or less. So you see we have this blurred out and tinted logo here, and we have this energy like floating or being sucked in by this logo, and then there is another energy eruption, and in the end we have our logo here. And the first thing I want to change here is this tinted color of the logo, because this is now bluish, but I want this to be greenish. So you see that the logo tint is right here on top, and we can just change this color. And you will see that here there is also an effect on it, in this case a glow effect. And this can change the outcome of what you put here, what you put into this control can change it pretty badly. So if you take a look that I'm putting in a very bright green, then we have nearly a yellow here. So this is because of the glow effect. You could of course change the glow settings here, but for me I like it. I want this to be like a green yellowish look. Okay, and now I want to change the color of this Energy Blast 3. And the Energy Blast 3 should be similar to the Energy Blast 1, but probably not as intense, because this is a little bit too much now. So let's just make this a little bit less green, because it should be similar to the color of our logo tint here. So something like this is probably quite good, not too bright. So it's coming in, and then it's exploding out in a bright flash. And then we have this fog moving over our logo. And you see that the color of the fog changed automatically, and this is because the color of the flash or of the Energy Blast 3 and the color of the fog are linked together. But we can of course control the look. So if we select our logo fog, and you see that we have a glow on it, and I think in our case the glow is a little bit too harsh. So I will just increase the threshold a little bit here, you know, so that we do not have so much glow. So let's say I increase it to about 65. And I could also just lower the intensity, but I think that 1 is quite okay. And you know, this looks quite good. Now it's like afterburn of our explosion, and then it's this kind of fog is fading away. So pretty nice. Let's see what we have here. Maybe I want to change the color of this energy a little bit more. So let's go back to our color setup and change the Energy Blast so that it's not quite, a little bit in this direction, because then it fits better with the last blast. And let's see how this looks now. And actually it looks pretty cool. Okay, so if you think that this fog here is a little bit too intense, and you saw that we played around with the glow, but it depends on how big your logo is. You know, the Envato logo is quite big and has quite big shapes here, and it could be a little bit too harsh. So you can just press T and just lower the transparency a bit, you know, maybe just to 50 or 60. And you know, it's getting a little bit more subtle than this effect. And it's fading off quite nice. Okay, and last but not least, we will change the color of our tagline here. So just change it from blue, let's say, to in our case white. And this is it. You see that now we have created a completely unique look, but everything is kind of nice, dominated by green, blue, yellow, and fits the logo quite well. And now, of course, you just have to render it out, and you're done. So I really hope that you like this template and that you create some nice intros with it. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments or just write me a mail. And of course, visit my website, which is www.graphicinmotion.com. There you can find all my templates, tutorials, some free stuff for you to download. So thanks very much for watching, and I really hope to see you soon. Goodbye.